those kind of results. The Penn State starting five, DJ Newbill, was the co-Big Ten Player of the Week, averaged 22 points, 7.5 rebounds during the 3-game win streak. And Michigan State, without Keith Appling, Travis Trice gets the start. He himself working his way back after being out. He missed a lot of time with an illness. He dropped some weight. He lacks stamina. Gary Harris, of course, arguably the most complete guard in the Big Ten. His scoring ability, the defensive ability. He leads the Spartans in steals. Two teams met up on New Year's Eve. Michigan State won 79-63 back at Penn State.
They're looking at something on Costello.
Well, it's official Jimmy Burr who's pointing over at Matt Costello and then going to the bench and talking things over with head coach Tom Izzo. And I think it's an equipment issue that they're pointing to as he now goes and grabs that right knee brace that he had on. And I think it's the fact that it's an additional item not matching and conforming to the Michigan State uniform, as we will get some clarity on that.
Well, it comes down to fashion sense. Everything's about fashion these days. If someone's wearing a white sleeve or has a white undershirt, then the knee brace has to be the exact same color as the uniform. A white sleeve means a black knee brace needs to come off. I would have preferred just taking the white sleeve off the arm, but...
So Travis Trice, the junior guard, told you missed a lot of practice time back in January. He's starting in place of Keith Appling. Here's Valentine now. Side rim into the hands of Frazier. Tim Frazier, the do-it-all leader for Penn State. As he is stripped away.
Great hands
over
by
on
Valentine.
the first possession. Harris for three. And Brandon Taylor comes down with it.
Tom Izzo told us earlier today they're going to push, but then once they get into their half-court set, he'd like to see them settle it down, slow down, and create tempo because he's got to save some legs with the shortened bench that he has, especially with Appling being out. You mentioned Trice and the flu he caught while being home over the holidays.
Here's Newbill, crossover, and then he gives way and dishes to Woodward. Three-point attempt that back rims that time. As Donovan Jack misses his first attempt of the night. Valentine on the drive, crossed over, and banked it in.
And the point of emphasis to get back in transition, large for Penn State on that three-point shot, partner. Not one Nittany Lion went to the offensive glass. They all got back in transition, and yet they still were unable to stop Valentine as he split the gap and got into the middle.
And Newbill can't connect.
These two teams, excellent in the half-court defense. Ranks #1 and #2 in the Big Ten in field goal percentage defense.
Harris goes down to the post to Costello. And with the left hand, he's able to get it to go.
With some of the injuries, you have to look at players and say, okay, who can emerge, who can play well? Costello's had some really nice games with Dawson being out.
Had his first career double-double at Iowa.
The last 5 games averaging close to 8 points and 6 rebounds per contest.
It was tough go of it inside that time for Taylor. And here comes Valentine. And he was denied by the 6'9" Donovan Jack. Frazier now, little runner.
It's the first time that they've been able to attack the defense without it being against the set-up half-court defense of Michigan State.
And the three put down that time by Kaminsky. As you heard the roar from the crowd, that's Adrien Payne going to the scorer's table to check in. So a 5-point lead for the Spartans. Shot clock down to 5. And Frazier delivers.
So smooth on the outside, Newbill and Frazier.
Now pushing it the other end. Valentine gets it out to Harris. And a rebound by Costello. And he will get a trip to the line as Adrien Payne will return to action for Michigan State. That sprained right foot has kept him out of action for 7 straight games.
Started with plantar fasciitis, then went to a sprained foot because he was walking on it awkwardly. And he's worked his way back, and Tom Izzo said earlier this week he anticipated maybe 15 minutes. He told us today he could play more.
His first game action since January 7th against Ohio State. Guy who could have been an NBA draft pick last year came back, and now looking to bounce back. So many goals he had. Individual honors, and of course a team capable of going all the way. Just a slight disruption in the midst of his conference play with the injury.
Well, you think about some of those games that Adrien Payne had earlier this season. That game against Texas with 33 points, 9 rebounds. How good does that game look right now, especially considering how Rick Barnes and Cameron Ridley have been going all year long?
He was 10 of 13 that night against Texas. Tom Izzo's team has scored on 4 of their last 5 trips. Officials take a moment to look over the clock.
I think it's really key in this game for Penn State. They got off to a little bit of a sluggish start. Offensively, a couple of good looks by Frazier, but they need to stay in this game early. They had a lead in the first half at their place, then relinquished it in the second half, and Coach Chambers said, you know what, you guys just didn't play with the toughness that you needed to have. And the carryover now is, what did you learn about your team in that meeting? What did your team learn about itself that it's going to be able to take on the road against Sparty tonight?
Johnson in the game, and he will launch the 3. He's not too bashful. Long rebound that time by Alvin Ellis. Payne right back at it. Welcome back, Adrien Payne. Wasting no time is DJ Newbill. Here's Payne again. And he was shooting well, warming up earlier today. Frazier shot fake and makes his way in.
And you see the quickness of Frazier off that 3-point line, able to attack.
Trice now for 3. And Payne, right place, right spot, and puts it back.
That's not clearly where you miss him most. You mentioned it off the top of the broadcast, partner. The last 4 games, Michigan State has not out-rebounded a single opponent. It was equal only 1 time in that stretch. They had a deficit in 3 of them. A big part of that has been the injuries with Payne and Dawson. Payne coming back, already paying dividends on the offensive glass.
7-footer Dickerson in the game for Penn State. Shot clock at 5. DJ Newbill. That'll be a shot clock violation. The return of Adrien Payne in Michigan State with a 5-point lead.
Have happened during practice. I mean, Costello getting mono did not happen during practice. You know, Trice getting the flu did not happen during practice. Appling's injury happened during the course of the game, and this has been a team that has been bit by the injury bug, but they will not make any excuses. Their goals have not changed. Big Ten championship, and they are dreaming of a national championship down in Texas.
Heading to the line will be Alvin Ellis. Michigan State 5 field goals, 4 assists, no turnovers to start the evening here with a 5-point margin.
A good job sharing the basketball in the early stages of this game too. I feel as if Penn State has settled for the three-point shot a little bit too much.
That was the freshman guard from Chicago. He was originally headed to play for Minnesota, but was released from that commitment when they went through their coaching change and landed here with Tom Izzo.
And talking about Penn State and their offense, and I mentioned they're relying a little bit too much on the 3. 0 for 4 from behind the arc, 4 for 5 inside of it. And do not settle against the Michigan State defense. That's what they want you to do.
Penn State team won 3 Big Ten games in a row for the first time in 4 years. DJ Newbill, 14-footer, front-rimmed it, and it goes into the hands of Gary Harris on the run here to Trice. And a rebound on the inside, Kaminsky.
Good work by Kaminsky on the offensive glass. His mom, by the way, was a tremendous basketball player. We talked about that as I spoke with him earlier today.
Ellis denying Graham Woodward. Woodward has started now the last 4 games. There's Travis Trice here controlling things offensively, setting up the table for Michigan State in place of Keith Appling tonight. And here is Payne, his return to action, as he was met up with Jordan Dickerson and draws the foul.
When you talk about being active on the glass, when you think about Michigan State, you always think about them attacking, and you can attack from a variety of areas. That's where Kaminsky is out on the floor. As the shot goes up, he runs right down the lane. Nobody puts a body on him, able to catch it and bring it down and then finish.
Second on Dickerson.
A 10-point lead now for Michigan State, and Penn State has got to be concerned in the early stages of this game that they've allowed it to get away this far. It's a 7-0 run right now for Michigan State.
So a good start tonight for Adrien Payne. Came into the season, preseason first team All-America. Guy who would have been a front runner and contend for Big Ten Player of the Year, and then the disruption with the foot strain. John Johnson. Trice was fighting for it, but Ross Travis came up with it, and it'll go with the Spartans.
See, I think you can get a contested three-point shot at any point in time. That is one where you can turn that down, and if you really need it, you can go ahead and get that back. You still have 15 seconds on the shot clock when the ball's hit his hands. How do you just dribble it up, reverse the ball, maybe try to attack off the bounce? They're settling right now.
Penn State scoreless in their last 5 trips. Here's Harris. And Travis with the rebound, and now pushing it is Frazier. Connected with that runner a little earlier, but not this time. Penn State has gone cold.
And pressure trying to extend out, force turnover opportunities.
And the Lions haven't scored in the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Costello from Harris. What a nice pass for Kaminsky. That's going to be goaltending. Big wide lead for Michigan State here at home early. as Sean Farum will take us inside the Farum file when we return to the Breslin Center.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by...
It's very important, you know, that's one of our goals, like you said, and we're just trying to, you know, get there.
All right, two of the best seniors, two of the most important parts of Michigan State basketball.
And the reason why that Final Four question comes into play, because every four-year player that has played under Tom Izzo here during his tenure has made a trip to the Final Four. Those two have yet to make it there.
Word association in the Farum file this week. Were you a psych major at UCLA?
Well, no, I was a history major. But over the course of history, there have been many good word associations.
As Jack draws the foul.
I appreciated both those guys
against Matt Costello, his first.
I appreciated both those guys coming out.
I thought they did a nice job with it.
Yeah, they had
and of course, toughness was the first word association there when you brought up their head coach.
Well, Tom Izzo does an excellent job with his team and trying to build a culture, and he has not relaxed. He said on Saturday after the Georgetown game, he thought they played with great toughness at Iowa. He thought they played cool on Saturday against Georgetown in that loss. They are not cool tonight. They are showing some toughness and getting on the glass.
Penn State just cannot connect. Taylor has been so hot during the three-game win streak, shooting 47% from three-point range, but that was well off the mark there. As we'll turn it over here, Jimmy Burr points the other way. Reminder that the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy will be coming your way Saturday at noon. Bama against now number 3 Florida. And then Big Ten action with Nick Stauskas averaging over 17 points per game. Michigan and Iowa at 2 o'clock. The Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy.
Should be a great one. Michigan, Iowa. Has Iowa grown from their home loss when they had opportunity to beat Michigan State and they let them off the hook? Important game there for the Hawkeyes.
Newbill. And the push there with the whistle. Penn State 0 for their last 6.
Coach Chambers said it was going to be very interesting to see how his team would respond, winning 3 consecutive games in a row. People talking about it on campus and how this team is able to handle success and understanding how they have to compete to try to win in this building, on this floor, against this program.
That's a welcome, nice new problem for Penn State, but not dealing with it well early here as the freshman Gavin Schilling will earn a trip to the line. It's Brandon Taylor's first.
Gavin Schilling, the outline on the start.
Schilling had a well-traveled prep career. He was in Chicago his freshman year. Then his dad was in Germany, so he played ball there his sophomore year, came back to the U.S., back to Chicago, but he finished up at Findlay Prep out in Nevada. So now 5 coaches in 5 years for Gavin Schilling.
Findlay Prep, one of the elite programs at all of the high school, prep school level. Nigel Williams-Goss, one of the star players that was part of that program a year ago. Playing up at Washington, of course. Many other recent graduates that have gone on to great success.
And that breaks the dry spell as Newbill took it strong to the hole.
They can get it going quick from the outside. They can drive in and attack, and I think that's where Penn State will have their most success. This is a team that's in a little bit of a funk from the outside. They shot only 25% from three-point land the other night against Purdue in that win.
And there's a turnover. Frazier. And he'll just roll it right in.
Creating offense through your defense.
Payne clutch there at the foul line.
Well, he was looking to pass to Schilling and then decided to shoot it because Schilling wasn't ready to receive the ball and happens to go in.
Crosses it over to Newbill. And Harris with the rebound and now looks to push a bit. Up ahead to Valentine. And here's Payne now down on the block. As they double him. And he'll stay with the Spartans. 24 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
Well, you see in transition, The pass, Payne was looking to dump it down. Schilling didn't have the position. He had already left his feet, so he goes ahead and finishes it with the jump shot.
8 points for Adrien Payne, his return game.
And what we're seeing here, too, is a little bit of frustration, understanding spacing. And Adrien Payne was not looking for Valentine in the right position and miscommunication.
Frazier was waiting for it up ahead, and they convert. So a good spurt here by Penn State.
And what did Tom Izzo tell us about the guys that have been injured? It's not about missing the games. It's about missing practice. The timing routes that are so important.
He also talked about the fact that now he feels like he really hasn't had a rotation, that it's been substitution by foul or fatigue with all these injuries and guys not knowing when they're really going to get in. And that spins out on Trice, and Payne's there to try to clean it up as he fades away and couldn't put much on it, but Schilling there, and then another rebound and put back by Denzel Valentine. Spartans by 12 at home. 12, but then Michigan State roared back to win it by 16. Now a 12-point margin here with 8:31 to go in the first half.
That last sequence, though, it is what Michigan State basketball has always been about. Being active and just being tougher, more physical on the glass. 3 opportunities to score before they were able to put it in.
Ross Travis was aggressive there. That was Kenny Kaminsky picking up his first. He's on the floor.
Gary Harris, underrated, I think, nationally because of his offensive abilities. People very rarely talk about his defensive abilities. He's done a great job on Newbill so far.
Good hands by Valentine. Leaves it for Kaminsky. And he knocks it down. Got great range does Kenny Kaminsky. 10 points already tonight.
He's had some big games. 5 of 7 from 3 in their overtime win at home against Minnesota earlier this year. Able to stretch the defense.
Crossover by Newbill. Trice pulls it down. Travis coming in for the rebound. Penn State off the miss by Harris.
And the big concern for Adrien Payne is his wind. He's calling for the sub. He is winded right now. And that's what caused the foul right there. Well, with Payne still trying to work his way back, this team always looking to find players that can step up. Mr. Kaminsky from the outside, just as he did against Minnesota. He's stretching it early. He's got 10. Minutes, I think, can become productive for Sean Miller and the Wildcats.
DJ Newbill with the first free throw attempt of the night for Penn State.
And here's a problem for Penn State. Only 2 players have scored for him, Newbill and Frazier. And no surprise, they're the leading scorers, but Frazier, 5 of 7. The rest of the team is 2 for 12 shooting.
And 6 different scorers for Michigan State. A much more balanced attack as they have a 13-point lead here. Good feed from Trice. Kaminsky airballed it. Costello came up with it. They rotate it to Harris, and he makes them pay the price. Gary Harris.
Spacing, ball movement, second chance opportunities. Harris wide open. Good job by Michigan State.
11 zip advantage for Penn State on second chance points. Newbill. Well, he really had to extend that right hand there on the drive. Travis fights for it. And it'll stay with the Nittany Lions.
You know, Michigan State was out-rebounded by 7 and gave up 15 offensive rebounds against Georgetown. They've given up just 2 offensive rebounds here in the first half of this game.
Valentine again with those hands getting in the passing lanes.
Very active partner. That's at least twice now that we've seen him deflect passes. He's also gotten a steal.
Frazier weaving his way around, and now Johnson coming around. And Valentine, we're going to get things going.
Good job defensively cutting off the baseline, not allowing Gary Harris to dribble in from the outside.
From the corner. He's got the hot hand, doesn't he? Kenny Kaminsky with 13 points. A reminder that ESPN's Journey to the Tourney will continue Saturday. It is Michigan and Iowa. The Journey to the Tourney presented by Sonic. Saturday at 2 on ESPN. Of course, they got after Nebraska pretty good last night. Blowout there for the Wolverines. Well, meanwhile here with the Spartans, it's been Kenny Kaminsky's night so far.
Yeah, he's pretty hot as well. We saw last night Michigan was hot from the outside. It's been Kaminsky in this game. The floor spacing has been outstanding for Michigan. Kaminsky has put himself in the right position. Offensive rebounds, being active inside the paint. Trailing the play, feet set, holding the follow through. And a good job by Kaminsky as he continues to stretch the floor and cause issues for Penn State. You have to have an awareness of the strengths and weaknesses of your opponent. Kaminsky, he can do a little bit of everything, but you've got to defend the three-point shot. He's got 13 points, and you see the season average where it's been at.
3 for 3 on the long balls for Kenny Kaminsky. Michigan State's last 3 baskets, all trifectas. And they have 9 assists already. Penn State works it into the post here to Jack. Donovan Jack backing down and gets that right hand turn to go for him.
Good job and good discipline by Michigan State throughout the course of the early stages of this game in the first half. Not settling.
Good look that time on the cut as Harris found Costello, and he draws the foul.
When you're pressuring the basketball, you can utilize the back cut and create spacing. And that's what Costello was able to do there.
Brandon Taylor's second as Adrien Payne waiting to head back out to the court.
And Costello, a little bit of an elbow there, an inadvertent elbow by Taylor to the face. It's tough to shoot free throws with only one eye.
That's
the other
right.
one's all teared up.
Of course, you mentioned earlier Costello among those who part of the walking wounded for the Spartans team, was feeling the effects of mono earlier this season. Missed most of December. They have doubled them up, 36-18. And a whistle down along the baseline as Trice gets nabbed there. And that's his first.
43, Travis, now in for Penn State.
But for Penn State, you got 4:45 left to go here in the half. You've got to turn this thing up and try to make it a 10-point deficit going to the break. Ideally, that's where you want to be if you're Penn State. You want to tighten this thing up as you get to the break, try to give you some momentum. Gather yourself in the locker room and come back out, because things have not worked well here in the first half.
On the drive that time and heading to the line will be Geno Thorpe.
Well, this is what I've been saying from the start of the game. Don't settle for your perimeter shot. Look to attack, find a gap, and finish. A nice jump by Thorpe that time.
Fouled by Ellis. Unable to convert, but then fighting for it, and Penn State comes up with it, and Travis misses.
That was awfully close to being a goaltending. And Michigan State might have got away with one there.
Trying to work it to Payne. That was off target. Frazier swings it around. And they will reset here, under 10 on the shot clock. DJ Newbill, little crossover in the drive, and the whistle, but it won't drop for him.
Manufacturing points. That's what Penn State's got to do. The last two possessions, they haven't settled for the three. They've looked to attack. They need some more of that.
Look forward to that. Joe Tessitore, Sean Farnham here in East Lansing, Michigan State, 36-20.
Well, how about the job that McCronin has done at Cincinnati? I had them in the tip-off marathon. The way his teams compete, and they just play for 40 minutes, whether they're down, they're up, and they were down for a majority of that game tonight against UConn. I love the heart and the passion of Justin Jackson, and Sean Kilpatrick right now has just been playing at an outstanding level.
Some of the descriptors that many were describing with this Penn State team over the course of the last 3 games of playing with just a great attitude and determination. Well, I'll tell you, you and I came around to the shoot-around today. Attitude is central theme to what Coach Chambers is trying to put forth with the Nittany Lions. They live it and breathe it. Even you got caught up into the moment today, going for a loose ball out there in a suit.
Every time there's a loose ball, somebody gets on the floor for Penn State, and at shoot-around, there happened to be a ball after shoot-around was over, rolling right at my feet. I had to jump on it. Just instincts. It's infectious. But Coach Chambers does an excellent job with this program. We walked into shoot-around today. There's music playing. The energy level is great. Guys are enjoying themselves playing basketball. It's something he started back at Boston University prior to coming to Penn State, and it kind of manufactures energy in the arena. It's something they do everywhere they go, and then there are the times that they turn the music off, and obviously the focus comes in on exactly how they have to defend or how they're going to attack offensively. But I really like what he's doing with this program, and I think that obviously Tim Frazier coming back this year, being healthy, a big part of their success.
You know, I think such a big statement, too, is when you're 0-6 and playing in a conference like this, you can lose guys. It's easy to make the excuses, to stay with it, to be gritty, and to grab the 3 wins the way they did. Now, this is a different beast coming up here to East Lansing. But
well, they left some wins on the table. I mean, they literally, you can look at their schedule, and they really feel Minnesota, Indiana, and in particular that Purdue game were games that they should have probably walked away with a victory, but they took one off the table from Ohio State a week ago last night.
And of course, for this Michigan State team, well, they had that non-conference game, Super Bowl weekend in New York against Georgetown after, you know, the injuries to Brandon Dawson and no Payne, and they had that overtime win, that gritty, well-played game against Iowa, and then they go on the road out of conference against Georgetown and come up short. Here's Payne, lost his man and put it up with ease.
You think a guy's going to have some rust? You know, conditioning obviously a little bit of a factor, but how effective has he been when he's out on the floor? He's been a monster in this game so far. 10 points
on 4 of 6 shooting. And then there's this guy, as Harris couldn't get it to go. Frazier, well, he's been pretty solid himself for the Nittany Lions.
Without him right now, where would Penn State be? He has 13 of their 24.
6 of 8 shooting for the senior guard.
Not Michigan State. I'm trying to get the ball to Payne as often as I can while he's out on the floor.
Harris turned the corner, nearly got tied up. And here come the Nittany Lions the other way. DJ Newbill. And he draws the foul.
What I love about what we've seen, though, out of Adrien Payne is his patience. Watch on the catch. Surveys, sees the option, patient, watches the space develop, and then when it develops, utilize a shot fake, and then finish. I mean, that's textbook post up. If you're a high school big or you're a young man that think you're going to play in the post, that's exactly what you have to do. Have some poise and patience down low.
You got Donovan Jack off his feet. And then he scored. And Kenny Kaminsky picked up his second foul that sent Newbill to the line.
And remember, it was 38-16, and I said they've got to try to get this thing back to being a 10-point game before you get to the locker room. Penn State still has the capability to get that done. They need a couple more stops. And I think that'll give them some momentum going into the locker room game. Guys, we got off to a slow start. We can ignite our offense. I think the biggest key, and Coach Chambers has been telling us guys, push it. Don't settle. Don't wait to play in the half court.
And they go from 36-18 and now 38-26. Another 2 minutes to go in the half. And as Payne was tied up. And good hustle that time for the ball by Newbill. And it'll be Penn State's ball.
And Payne off the block that time. The double team came. Active hands for Penn State. Deflect the ball loose and then just hustle. A good job by Newbill throwing it off of Adrien Payne to gain possession.
He's the Co-Big Ten Player of the Week, DJ Newbill. Jump step there, and then the whistle. In the midst of a 10-3 run for the Nittany Lions.
Manufacturing points, not settling, being aggressive, attacking. Adrien Payne on the defensive end of the floor, a little bit winded right now. Gets caught with his second personal floor, and now we've got stuff being thrown on the floor at the midcourt. Costello really smart, though, at the scorer's table. Picked up the trash before anybody saw it and threw it back into the crowd.
And that's the seventh free throw attempt for Newbill in the last 2 minutes. They've done a nice job of cutting into this lead. Newbill so instrumental in that surge that they had in the midst of this conference play, the 3-game win streak, averaging 22 points and 7.5 rebounds over the last 3 games. Back to a 10-point margin, and the pressure nearly worked. And Valentine draws the foul on the floor. And they're in the bonus here.
On the line for Michigan State, Valentine, 1-1.
I think for Valentine, we've seen a different player than what we saw against Georgetown over the weekend. Against Georgetown, Valentine had 6 turnovers in the 5 previous games to that one. He only had a combined 5 turnovers. Tonight, he's been focused, hasn't turned the ball over, been active on the defensive side of the ball with deflections and steals, playing the passing lanes, and hasn't forced his offensive game.
Well-rounded game for him. 6 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Had 6 assists the first time they played Penn State. Try to get it into the post to Travis. As that was Bird. The post defense there. That's his first. Double bonus, so Travis will head to the line, shooting 2.
And Travis played with some great confidence and poise in their first meeting against Michigan State with 6 points, 7 rebounds, and the interior presence, I think, is the biggest key for Penn State in this game. You know, they've got to keep it tight on the glass. They've got to do a better job than what we saw early in this game. And Travis is one of those guys, even though undersized, he can put some pressure on you on the block.
13 minutes without a free throw did Penn State. Now they knocked down a couple, and Denzel Valentine answers on the other end.
I really like the way he's played here in the first half. With Keith Appling being out, you need a leader, you need a calming force, and Valentine has been that presence.
Here's Jack now. Denied.
Reestablishing the offense, pulling it back out. A nice job by Valentine. And a heck of a defensive play by Harris, by the way. Coming over from the weak side position to block that shot.
Against a 6'9" Donovan Jack. 5-second differential between shot clock and game clock here. Good feed that time. Matt Costello finishes, but Trice delivered.
Set the on-ball screen, roll to the middle, no help side defense, no rotation, no communication, equals no chance for Penn State, and one.
And just like that, it's back to a 16-point margin. Penn State cut into the lead, being aggressive, earning trips to the free throw line. And now Michigan State answers. Frazier. And that's how we will go to the half.
The first half, these two teams and the way that they came out, the way they tried to fight, the rebounding, second chance opportunity, Michigan State, sizable advantage in those two areas. It's the reason why they have the lead going to the break.
12 assists on 15 field goals for the Spartans. 46-30 lead for number 9 Michigan State. Let's get you to the Land Rover halftime report.
And it was our perfect play.
Keep in mind, one of the other storylines tonight is you look at the first half stats and you see what Michigan State was able to do, shooting 50%. Keith Appling out of action. A story that Sean Farnham broke on Twitter. As I told people, a must follow if you love college basketball. Sean Farnham. Travis Trice, 5 assists, no turnovers, getting the start tonight, Farnham.
Well, an excellent job by him, but an excellent job overall by Michigan State. They have assisted on 80% of their made field goals in the first half.
Penn State struggling to get anything to go here as Graham Woodward rattles out. Now Trice on the other end. And there's the whistle, as it was Woodward coming back defensively.
Starts at the defensive end of the floor, block shot by Costello, and then immediately Harris gets his head up. Trice makes the decision to go with it, and going with it draws the foul.
2 on Graham Woodward.
Every time a body hits the floor for Tom Izzo right now, I think he has flashes of the Lakers last night in Cleveland, where they finished that game with really only 4 players. Rob Sacre got to stay out on the floor. They received the technical. And not quite that short-handed yet here at Michigan State, but certainly they have been battle-tested this season with the injury bug.
And for Appling, you see him there, the first game he's ever missed at Michigan State, the right wrist injury. X-rays came back clean. He's going to try to go this weekend, but a no-go tonight. Newbill, 16-footer off to the side. Here's Trice now, just working behind Kaminsky. Costello tried to tap it back in, but it falls into the arms of DJ Newbill.
Well, Penn State's got to start going in transition. This is what they need a lot more of. That right there. It's so simple. Their coach is yelling it from the sideline. As soon as they get their hands on the ball, you've got to push it and try to collapse this defense.
Whistle there as Kaminsky was tied up.
You don't want to go against Michigan State that leads the Big 12 in field goal percentage defense in the half court. So you've got to try to get them in a scrambled, unorganized situation if you can. And if it doesn't come in your initial fast break, you can always try to get it done in your secondary break. And that's what Newbill was able to do. Probe the defense, look for a lane, and then got into it before setting up their offense.
Tim Frazier picked up his first. Harris now. Just inside the arc, and he gets it to drop right in, smooth as could be. Gary Harris leading the Big Ten in scoring, over 18 a game.
Smooth as can be, but that's a tough two right there. And it is really good defense, not a lot of separation. Harris able to create and manufacture a little bit, a little step off, but still a contested jump shot.
Wouldn't go for Newbill.
Valentine's just been everywhere. He is on pace to be near triple-double.
Good pass that time, but defensively there was Taylor involved and Newbill on the other end as he finishes.
Well, and Kaminsky a little shaken up as he runs back down the floor.
Harris draws the foul on the other end, and Kenny Kaminsky is limping a bit up the floor. He's had a brilliant night with 13 points and 3 3-point shots made. That's the third on Brandon Taylor.
He'll go on the open floor and a little trip up, and Kaminsky fell. And his feet got tangled up with Newbill, and he hit the deck. Hit a big first half, able to stretch him from the outside, 13 points. 5 of 6 shooting, 3 for 3 from behind the arc. He was a key part of the offense in the early stages of this game.
Harris's first free throw attempt tonight. As Adrien Payne checks in here.
Kaminsky's going to go to the bench. He limped his way over there, and we'll have to see. He's not getting looked at by the trainer, at least not yet.
I told you about Keith Appling being out as Payne returns, but the other big story, Brandon Dawson is out with the broken bone in his right hand. Harris sets up Trice. Goes back to Harris and into the post to Payne. See what Payne does against Dickerson. Lost control for a moment and gets the rebound. And then Dickerson fouled him.
I'm telling you right now, Tess, there is no way that Michigan State should have gotten that ball back after it was poked out from Adrien Payne. That's just poor awareness on the outside. You're face guarding defensively. Michigan State at the wings. You had no awareness of where the ball was. That should have been a steal for Frazier or Newbill, and they should have been going in the opposite direction.
Instead, they rotated it back around. Payne got the rebound, and Dickerson picked up his third.
Penn State, you can ill afford to give up second chance opportunities or extra offensive possessions in the second half to Michigan State. You go to the zone.
High post Payne. What a nice feed and a good look. Down low to Matt Costello. Caught, turn, pass, score. And now Valentine here as he pushes ahead to Harris. And there's Costello again. Harris from the corner. That's a two-pointer for Harris. 15 assists for Michigan State, 18 field goals, and a 21-point lead for the Spartans. Their largest lead of the night. Gary Harris makes it look easy, doesn't he? 5-34 lead here, and what a difference it makes to come back home after that non-conference Super Bowl weekend game in New York against Georgetown when they missed 20 three-pointers. I think better.
Think about this: Kaminsky, Costello, and Payne, 12 of 15 from the field, 33 of the 55 points.
Here's John Johnson as he banks in the runner. And is thrown into the mix middle of the season, transfer eligible. Came in after his success as a freshman at Pitt. Harris was looking for Payne in the post, and now he gets the entry pass. And look at him just physicalling his way to the inside. Going to take a break. Big theme's been the injuries for Sparty. We'll discuss it when we return. 5 assists tonight.
The crazy thing about all those injuries, none of them happened at practice. They all happened at games. You go back to Harris. He was playing a pickup game before the season started. That's how he tweaked his ankle. Guys get sick at home. Trice got sick over the holiday break.
That's an interesting point you bring up, because I know Izzo has a reputation for the tough practices and putting on the shoulder pads, and that can be a rap out there for some negative recruiting of looking at injuries and saying what happens during practice, but not the case here this year with Michigan State with that list we showed you. Here's Trice now. And good work with Valentine, and then he gets it back out to Trice. How about Valentine flying in for the rebound and heads up to pass it right back out.
Oh, Trice turned around, looking up at the rafters here and said thank you. And no hesitation from him continuing to shoot the ball, but look out.
And second chance points, 18 of them for Michigan State. Penn State yet to have one.
10th rebound of the game for Valentine. Excellent job kicking out. Newbill leaking out, was not in the proper position, and because of that, he gave up a wide open 3.
Biggest lead of the game for the Spartans, 22-point margin. And we talk so much about Travis Trice stepping in for Appling, but it's Valentine with, he offers a little more than what Trice can in playing such a well-rounded game tonight.
The all-around game has been most impressive by Valentine. 10 rebounds first, 9 points, 5 assists. Actually 6 assists now.
Frazier tried to turn in the lane, did get the shot off and drew the foul. Able to keep his balance and turn towards the basket. And now you see them, officials talking things over there.
Well, they're going to count the basket. They're counting the basket because it came after the foul. And we'll show it to you in just a second.
Well, the Spartans to Kaminsky, placing out Schilling. On the line, Penn State 23 Frazier.
The thing about it was, I'd love to take another look at it, because I don't believe that that ball was even close in the vicinity of the basket.
So we'll take you back to the last third on the other end.
They awarded the basket, and watch this. The foul comes. All right.
They're going to say goaltending.
And that, I mean, from that angle, it's hard to see, but it was so far left of the rim, it would have been an air ball.
It appeared to be a good 1.5 feet in front of the rim at the point at which he makes contact with it.
Correct.
So they call goaltending there. And then the 1 free throw attempt. John Johnson. Tip-in won't go. As Trice comes away with it, pushes it ahead to Harris. Put it way out there. The reverse wouldn't drop in for Harris. He had to chase down that ball just to be able to try the reverse.
Great hustle by Harris. This one just thrown a little bit out in front of him. Tried to corral it in. Took off him maybe a little bit too early. Would have liked probably a half a step more to be able to get to the opposite side and be able to finish that off the glass.
See the success that the Spartans have had in transition this year. Johnson comes around, was trying to feed it underneath to Frazier. He did gather it, almost lost the handle. Long 3. And it goes for Tim Frazier.
Has he been huge in this game? 19 of their 42 off of his fingertips.
And he's got his own little 6-0 run working. The goaltending, the free throw, and now that three-pointer. And they're going to say that he stepped on the line, Kenny Kaminsky, as he was trying to line up a long ball of his own.
Only thing that has stopped him from a three-point make has been stepping out of bounds. 3 for 3 prior to that shot, and that one did go down and would have counted had he been inbounds before. Had his feet set before the catch.
He is 6th in the Big Ten in three-point field goal percentage in conference games. Just over 45%. Taylor working against Costello.
He finally gets in the scoring department. The last 3 games, he's averaging 15 points per game. That's his first made basket.
That is banked in that time. Stripped away at the other end. Harris.
Every time you start to see some positives for Penn State, Michigan State has answered and answered in a big way.
8-0 run, all of a sudden pushed back to a 20-point lead. Taylor's side rims it. Long rebound, though, fought for by Thorpe, and he can't control it.
Tess, you mentioned Penn State an 8-0 run. How does it get answered? Well, first with the bank. No Dawson, no Appling, no problem in this one for Sparty. They're up.
Lost 6 of 7, and now giving Arizona fits tonight as we are back here at the Breslin Center. Tom Izzo and Adrien Payne talking things over and what's been a successful return for the Spartans' big man. Valentine get a good look that time underneath for Schilling, but he couldn't finish. Meanwhile, it was Johnson running down on the other end.
If you're Penn State, you want to obviously create tempo and attack, but you have to do it under control. The last couple of possessions, just like that one right there, they're playing a little bit over the top of their skis, which is important because the winter games are just starting. You never want to be over the top of your skis because that's what creates falls. I'm excited. Bodie Miller, fastest qualification.
Big fan?
Oh, yeah. My favorite is the luge.
I don't know that you ever come up for air this time of the year with all the college basketball you're watching. I doubt you'll be taking in much of the Olympics. Here's Valentine. Thorpe looked to get it to the post. Now he swings it out to Johnson. Johnson drives. The left hand was denied that time by Gavin Schilling. Up ahead to Trice. Trice gave it back to Schilling. And they will reset here. And it just keeps on happening for Kenny Kaminsky. Let the good times roll for Kaminsky.
19 for Kaminsky. 5 for 5 from beyond the arc.
A 9-0 run and a 67-44 lead.
Well, Kaminsky's playing with such great confidence tonight. As soon as the ball hits his hands, his feet are set, elevates ever so slightly, doesn't need a lot of space to get it off, and you know you're in a rhythm when as soon as you release it, you start jogging back to the other end of the floor.
He started to gain that confidence and came against Ohio State. Had 3 3-pointers. And what a night tonight. 5 for 5 on the trays. Michigan State's last 4 have all been 3-pointers.
Career high now. 19 points for Kaminsky. Oh no. Trice is down.
Trice is limping, favoring that left leg. That's the last thing they need right now. Valentine pushes on the other end, and Schilling follows and cleans it up. And Travis Trice is starting in place of Appling tonight.
And he's going to come out of the game.
Favoring that leg.
Going to watch him as he comes up. He steps.
Oh, he rolled that left ankle.
Rolling of the ankle. And immediately went down. Look at the way that left ankle just twists as he tried to plant it. And he's immediately getting looked at by the trainer. And remember, this is no Keith Appling. Trice is your lead point guard right now. And now you go deeper and deeper into your bench.
go to the freshman, Alvin Ellis.
I still think you're going to put Valentine with the ball in his hands as much as possible right now.
Air ball collected by Ellis, and here is Valentine. And this is a role that he's comfortable with, do-it-all kind of player. And actually scored short-handed when Trice couldn't make it down the floor, injured on that last possession. There's Schilling in the post, and kick it out, rotate it. Could it be again? Not that time.
The first miss from three for Kaminsky.
Reminder, we've got more college basketball action on ESPN and ESPN2 comes Saturday. Gonzaga and Memphis will go at 9 o'clock, and on ESPN2, oh, the undefeated Shockers, number 4, 24-0, taking on Northern Iowa. Both games tip at 9. Also available on Watch ESPN.
Nice win last night for the Shockers to remain undefeated, and for Gonzaga, golden opportunity to get a big out-of-conference win in front of a national audience against Memphis in Memphis, and for Josh Pastner, an opportunity to beat a ranked opponent in your home court, the FedEx Forum.
Penn State is scoreless. Nearly 4 minutes of play now. Let's get the whistle there against Ellis. And it's 3 now on Alvin Ellis. And it's a good sign for Michigan State to see Travis Trice, after he rolled that left ankle, to immediately come back into action.
The key with that, too, is by getting him back in, you hope it doesn't stiffen up.
Right.
A lot of whistles, a lot of hustle.
They got to untangle a lot of humanity there. 25-point lead, and Coach Izzo loves that kind of scrappy hustle play.
Well, both coaches very pleased. We touched on Penn State. Every time it's shoot-around practice, there's a loose ball, they're just diving on it, and the whole team stops and applauds it. And these two teams and their defense and the way they compete, and you just see the bodies getting down. And Tom Izzo pleased with the effort he's seen out of his guys tonight.
8-time Coach of the Year for a reason. That's exactly what he instills, that kind of play. Adrien Payne in there. No shaking off the rust for the big man tonight. He looked sharp. That time he was denied by Dickerson.
Anticipation that time. Thought he was going to have the shot. The defense was there. They still maintain possession, though. 69-44.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball.
He's points tonight as he takes a seat. 5 3-pointers for the Spartans. 69-44. Penn State had closed it to a 14-point margin. Then the long balls from Michigan State. And how about that for being aggressive and just getting after it?
Good job executing out of the timeout. A set play. You curl Newbill in and attack the rim. And Penn State actually outscoring Michigan State in points in the paint. Now 26-20 in points in the paint.
Those are their first points in nearly 5 minutes on the clock. Payne swings it over to Ellis. And another 3 for Michigan State.
10 of 20 from beyond the arc for Michigan State. That'll work. Couple that with plus 17 in rebounds, plus 20 in second chance points. You understand why it's 72-46.
Ellis, the 5th Spartan player to hit a 3-pointer tonight. And get the whistle down here.
Hard ball, number 10, Costello. In second.
Costello
Team 7.
sending Ross Travis to the floor.
13, keep on point.
An opportunity to stop the clock, get to the free throw line. Remember, this is how they were able to shorten up this game and shorten up the lead, rather, excuse me, in the first half was getting to the free throw line. They've only attempted one free throw, though, in the second half. So 11 free throws attempted in the first half, and now 2, and this will be the third in the second for Penn State.
Travis able to connect. What do you think this Penn State program is right now with Pat Chambers? Had a long visit with him today, and obviously they feel good about the past week and a half.
Now you're looking at a team that could easily have 6 wins already in conference play. So they are close, and they are getting closer to being able to compete in this conference on a consistent basis. Tonight, obviously, they've been outmatched and overpowered, and Michigan State has shot the ball very well from beyond the arc.
This guy's been having himself a good night. The return of Adrien Payne.
We joked with Coach at shoot-around saying, you know, he comes back, everybody in your fan base is going to think it's going to be a 19-point, 15-rebound type performance for him. Probably not going to get there, but certainly an outstanding effort with 12 points coming back, his first action in 7 games.
Frazier with the 3.
You see why they're competitive right now and how they're able to stay in games. Frazier and Newbill, their scoring ability, their tandem has been great. What has let them down tonight has been those around them. Unable to consistently provide offense.
Frazier just 1 assist away from breaking the all-time career record at Penn State. Reminder that we have NBA action tomorrow night. First at 7, it'll be the Blazers and the Pacers. Then at 9:30, Kevin Love and the Timberwolves going up against Anthony Davis and the Pelicans. NBA Friday presented by State Farm.
Paul George going to be in the dunk contest. One way to get dunks is to be active on the glass. Michigan State's been active on the offensive glass tonight. We mentioned 4 consecutive games. The Spartans have either worked from a deficit or even on the defensive end of the glass. That has not been the case tonight. They have been ultra aggressive. This is Michigan State basketball. Getting up, playing volleyball around the rim, and being more active and wanting the basketball. And they've been able to convert those offensive rebounds and second chance points. 20 of them compared to 0 for Penn State. A big part of why they've been able to build this lead and cruise tonight has been their aggressive work on the glass. 13 offensive rebounds overall.
38 total rebounds to Penn State's 23. 74-51 lead. Penn State just not having balanced scoring. Frazier and Newbill with 39 points. The rest of the team 12. Baseline drive now from Harris, and that is tapped out, and it'll be Penn State's ball.
But that's a smart move by Adrien Payne. Usually you'd say, okay, sell out, go get that ball, try to maintain possession. Not when you just come back from injury. You've been dealing with a foot injury. You've got a sizable lead. Let that one go out of bounds. Get back to the defensive end of the floor.
Not worth it at all, especially with the goals of this team coming down the stretch of the season. They want everybody healthy and full ammunition. Harris now on the break. He was trying to toss it over in the direction of Costello, and Costello looked over and said, who was that to?
Well, he kind of got caught, I think, in between because he saw Valentine, he saw Costello, and then he threw it right in between the two of them.
Costello was coming right down the middle, trailing. Valentine was on the wing to the left. And there's Trice going up. Under 5 minutes in this wide margin for the Spartans. Izzo told us, talent-wise, best team I've had since 01. I just haven't had them all together. Payne now in the post. He's been getting plenty of work in there tonight. Gets it out to Harris. Blocking call there as Harris was set to drive to the inside. That was Geno Thorpe who was matched up against him.
Team 6. Number 11, Allen Roberts, checks in for Penn State.
Tom Izzo's team, though, doesn't make excuses. Yes, they have the injuries. This is a team and a program that's on the verge of becoming 20-3 on the season. even with all the injuries that they've had. And championship teams don't make excuses. They just find ways to win. That win at Iowa was ultra impressive. This one, though, with the three-point shooting ability that we've seen, now over 50% from beyond the arc. Gary Harris starting to get going.
He was slow scoring-wise in the first half, but now with 14. Closing in on his average of 18.4, leading conference scoring. Such a complete player. Had 27 in that showdown against Michigan when they were undermanned without Dawson and Payne. Payne just tried to scoop around with that right hand. Body's flying now down low. Michigan State out in front by 26, looking to close the show here.
Done a remarkable job. The consistency within this program, the ability to win year in and year out in what is always one of the top conferences in college basketball.
We're going to get Travis here, Ross Travis, as he was clearing out the path for that rebound. And the Spartans are going to unload the bench here.
What a job by Kaminsky. Career high for him. You know, that's the one thing that Michigan State has proven during this stretch is the depth of this team and players that have been willing to step up and be more aggressive and be more assertive in these moments.
They have 5 players with over 9 points. SEC and Big Ten headlining ESPN's Saturday Showcase at noon. You got Alabama and number 3 Florida. Then it is Michigan and Iowa. Of course, Michigan at 9-1 atop the Big Ten. You got the victory against their in-state rivals here, the Spartans. That's the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy.
Well, Florida Gators. And the job Billy Donovan has done, their defense this year has been outstanding, overcoming injuries himself. Players that were ruled ineligible now just coming back from Chris Walker. And we're really impressed with Billy Donovan in the SEC.
See if they can navigate through the rest of that conference and fare well in their conference championship and put themselves in position to claim a number 1 seed.
And you look at the Big Ten right now, we've seen some teams kind of slip and stumble and fall as of late. It's created a little bit of a gap up top. And the Wolverines improved to 9-1 last night. Michigan State going to improve to 9-1 tonight in conference play, and they don't meet up again until February 23rd.
And think about who could be back in this lineup come then. Obviously, Appling set to work his way back in, and then they will get the return of Brandon Dawson at the end of February. As Woodward puts up and rattles in the 3 ball.
Exuberance on the defensive end of the floor. Guys that haven't gotten a lot of minutes, trying to make plays, anticipating the pass, and when they anticipated the pass, they overran the ball.
Valentine on the other end, that was a 2 as he stepped just inside the arc.
And that gives him a double-double.
He's had a great night in supporting them in many ways beyond just scoring.
Good embrace by Coach Tom Izzo and Valentine.
The local kid who done well from right here in Lansing, Michigan. As Travis tried to break through and split defenders that time.
And Michigan State, a very balanced approach. 5 Spartans in double figures. I mentioned Kaminsky. Harris got going in the second half. Payne, I thought, was really impressed with, considering the amount of time, the amount of practices that he missed, that he was able to come out and perform the way that he did. 12 points.
Coach Izzo had a long conversation with us today about a situation like Adrien Payne. It's the timing. It's actually being out there and that chemistry that develops and little nuances of the game once you come back after missing 7 games. You know the athleticism is there. You know the size and presence is there. But the flow of the game with your teammates. Kenny Kaminsky, you mentioned the 19 points. 5th different player to lead Michigan State in scoring this year. Keenan Wetzel, who was just controlling the ball and gets it down to Gauna. And was tied up down low. And on the other end, it's Allen Roberts as he gets the basket and a trip to the line. The road ahead for the Spartans and head coach Tom Izzo. As come Sunday, they will be playing at Wisconsin, a much improved Northwestern team, as is the case with Tim Miles' Nebraska squad. And then there it is, February 23rd at Michigan. Let's get you up to speed on some of the happenings around the Big Ten. Sean, Michigan has a tough stretch of games themselves. It starts off with at Iowa and at the rival Ohio State. Iowa, of course, hosting Michigan Saturday. But after their strong start, they've lost 3 of their last 5. Of course, Ohio State had that skid. They lost 5 of 6, but they did win at Wisconsin and at Iowa and Northwestern. And head coach Chris Collins, one of the big talk about buzz stories of the league, the first 3-game road win streak in over 50 years. Wisconsin losing at home 3 straight under Bo Ryan. First time that has happened. Purdue last night topping Minnesota in overtime. That snapped a 4-game losing streak.
Well, certainly there's been it's been about streaks in this conference so far. We've seen those streaks of teams that started off the season like Wisconsin and Ohio State, undefeated, ranked in the top 5. All of a sudden they slip and fall ever so slightly and trying to get their footing back underneath them now. Iowa, another one of those teams that is working their way up the national polls.
And streak all you want. You want to be streaking at the right time, and that is March. And this team, Michigan State, at 100% health. Still, you look at that roster and talked about it all year long. Championship caliber team, loaded, talented players making a decision to commit to return here with a purpose and goals.
Well, in marbles, we've seen some inconsistencies, and you talk about getting to full health and what this team could be. Look what they are. They're at 75%. You know, at times even less than that as far as their starters go, and the guys that are in the thick of their rotation. And yet they have 1 loss in conference play. At the end of tonight, they're going to be tied with the Michigan Wolverines atop of this conference.
In what was a hard-fought game that came down to key possessions at the end.
So I don't think that there's any reason to doubt what Michigan State can be by the end of the year if they're healthy.
Here's Gauna. That's Allen Roberts with the ball for Penn State. Freshman guard Graham Woodward, who started the last 4 games. Kept that same lineup that earned them a 3-game win streak into tonight. And Roberts' long ball will drop in.
This is a Penn State team, though, that's extremely close. I mean, Coach Chambers talks about attitude. That's the only thing you can control, and they've controlled their attitude. They brought a good effort tonight, but Michigan State is the team that deserves all the credit. They were tougher. They were more physical once again on the glass. And Adrien Payne and Kaminsky, they set the tone early in this game.
And the threes just keep in dropping. That's Keenan Wetzel. 12 3-pointers, most for the Spartans in a conference game in 6 years.
Michigan State and Tom Izzo's team. They came out against the hottest team in the conference and had won 3 straight, and they cooled them off in a hurry.
Another 20-win season for Michigan State. 82-67 is your final. Oberman is coming up next. 12 three-pointers for the home team here at the Breslin Center. Thanks, everybody, for watching. For Sean Farnham, I'm Joe Tessitore. Have yourself a great night.